With AEW potentially buying out CM Punk's contract and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 21st. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. During an interview with Give Me Sport, Karrion Kross talked about fans believing he was behind the White Rabbit teases, saying, "The first time they played Feed Your Head and all that, I had a couple of people on SmackDown turn over and look at me. I was like, hey, don't look at me. I have nothing to do with that." Some people who have known me for a long time, they knew that used to be the theme music in Lucha Underground. And the White Rabbit, the Hourglass, they thought, is that you or is that Bray Wyatt? I said, it's not me. I have no idea who that is. As weeks went by, people in my family and personal friends called me saying, "Stop working us. You always work us. You never tell us. Just for once, tell us that it's you." I swear to God, I'm not working you. This has nothing to do with me. You're lying. That's you. Some people were very positive that this was some big elaborate scheme of mine. For once, it was not. I was hoping it was Bray Wyatt the entire time, and sure enough, all of us got, in the end, what we wanted, and it was him. It was a cool thing. I was flattered that people thought it was me. To be remembered for some of my earlier work is always really cool. It was a funny period for me personally. It was fun to watch it play out. Talking about his brother Jake Paul potentially making his debut for WWE, Logan Paul told WWE on Fox, "Truthfully, I think it's inevitable. I'm biased, but I think what we're doing is incredibly exciting, at least for me personally, it is incredibly exciting. If I were watching two brothers take over, and I use that word intentionally, take over two highly entertaining sports, boxing and wrestling, in a way that has never been done before, my curiosity would be piqued. We're making history as we speak, and I think Jake's crossover into WWE is inevitable, and bro, I need a bloodline. Roman got his." With it previously reported that WWE is planning to discontinue their Day 1 pay-per-view, Dave Meltzer now has additional details in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. At the time, we were told when WWE would likely announce the date change. In the local market, people believed the announcement was going to be made on October 7th, but that date came and went, and since then, nobody who was aware has been able to find out anything more. And at the time, the date for the show in Atlanta was Tuesday, December 27th. That date surprised me, with the idea of a pay-per-view head-to-head with NXT on USA, and that they had a house show scheduled in Detroit on December 27th. Then the Detroit date got canceled secretly as it had not been announced at the time. It has since been announced that the December 27th show in that building is off, and a new date in that building is January 20th for a SmackDown taping. So at this moment, WWE has everyone on the road on December 26th, with Raw in Columbus, Ohio for a TV shoot and SmackDown in Madison Square Garden. Then the key people are on the road for a day for no reason before the Raw crew going to Cleveland on December 28th and SmackDown crew going to Greensboro. As WWE does away with one pay-per-view, it seems fans could be getting another, with the Observer also noting there is talk of bringing back the King of the Ring tournament with a show that would be both King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. King of the Ring was dropped as a pay-per-view by Vince McMahon due to drawing weak numbers back in 2002. Today, with no need to have pay-per-view draw as separate buys, things like not putting on shows that didn't draw or having to do the shows in prime time since most of the money comes from the US, but now the money is guaranteed by Peacock, changes the dynamic of having the consistent 8 p.m. Eastern time start. Recalling a near-death experience as a teenager, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi told GV Wire, "I was kind of getting into things that I wasn't supposed to get into. One day, I got hit by a drive-by shooting, and that kind of changed my outlook on life. I was given a second chance. They pronounced me dead for 3 minutes in the General Hospital in San Francisco. To be able to see the pain of my family, I was in hospital for 2 months. As I looked around, seeing a lot of hurt on my family, hurt on my mother's face, my parents, I felt it was my responsibility to be able to make this better." Speaking about Zelina Vega's addition to Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar said on WWE Espanol, "All great family businesses grow, and you have to grow with acquisitions, with joining other companies and other corporations to build empires. Zelina Vega is a superstar that knows the roads of Raw, SmackDown, and WrestleMania. This union favors her, and it favors us. Together, like all great companies, we will go far. As long as our interests are aligned, there will not be anyone that can stop us. You gave me a great picture. Santos Escobar, Zelina, Joaquin, and Cruz. A group that I feel is unstoppable, very powerful, and dominant, and that the world tends to take for granted. They say, meh, they are too small or too heavy, but we are warriors, and we do not care to die on the line. Others do not have that. Anyone that underestimates us is committing a grave mistake, because we are here with an unstoppable hunger. I reiterate, we have the backing of a lot of people that come from the bottom, that are oppressed, and that is adjusted to hearing people say, not you. We are not that small, and we know how to talk, which is why they have me. I know how to express myself in the ring and out of the ring. All of the weaknesses that our minority group may have, which I believe is now a majority, are the strengths we will present, including our legacy and our heritage. That is what makes the group, including myself in particular." With his wife and former WWE Tough Enough winner Sara Lee tragically passing away recently, Wesley Blake issued this statement on Instagram. "Dear Sara, I loved you from the first moment I saw you. I would always say that you were an angel walking on this earth. Beautiful, compassionate, strong, and so loving. An angel that blessed me with 3 of the most beautiful children I could imagine. But you were so much more than just mom. You were a motivator, a best friend, a sister, a daughter, an aunt, the backbone of our family, and my favorite, my wife. I really don't know what to say in these uncertain times. I just know that death can't take away the memories we made. I can't promise that it will stop grieving, but I know now that you're free. I can't thank you enough for giving me the best years of my life so far. I love you, Sara." Recalling his one-on-one match against Jeff Hardy in AEW, Darby Allin noted on these sessions that he thought it would end his career. "Earlier in the day, I climbed that ladder, and I looked down and I was like, yep, I'm for sure going to the hospital tonight. There's no way around it. Everybody asked me, dude, how'd that feel? And honestly, it didn't feel like anything. It was so safe. You can see me if you watch the video back. I kind of go to Jeff's ear. That was so fun. AEW-wise, that was the craziest thing. I thought for sure I was going to meet my doom." With her not having been seen in AEW in quite some time, it looks like Paige VanZant could be done with the company, as Meltzer reported that. Paige VanZant, who has disappeared from all talk, was a subject asked about to a wrestling trainer, Gangrel. He said, "Yes, I did train her for a little while there. She did well. She didn't train as much as I would have liked for her to train, but I haven't seen her since that match. She did that match. She wrote me and said, hey, I'd like to go over the match with you and some critique. And I said, sure. And that's the last I heard from her. She's an athlete. She could have been really, really good at it, actually." It seems AEW is back to their old ways of flagging videos and content on social media criticizing their company. As Steve Carrier of Ringside News reported, my good friend Heel Goldsmith went to an AEW event in New York and filmed their low attendance and shared it on Twitter. Fast forward to today, and they are filing claims to have it removed off Twitter. Petty ass company, Tony Khan. The worst part about this video being taken down is that this was recorded on the fan's phone, not by AEW. Speaking on his drive-through podcast about former AEW producer Ace Steel being fired by the company after his involvement in the backstage brawl between the Elite and CM Punk, Jim Cornette said Ace Steel has won it from what we can tell. Did most of the damage, whatever there was left over that Punk did not do, Steel did. He's not the main event star, he's not the world champion, he's not the guy that drew $1 million gates, so I guess they gotta do something to make some people happy. When it comes to the backstage feeling of CM Punk and AEW following the backstage brawl, the Wrestling Observer noted the sentiment of those in AEW among most talent, not all talent, was decidedly anti-Punk. Between the television promo on Paige, who is overall very popular with the talent, the scrum where he said Paige had never done anything in the business, which was taken as saying AEW means nothing in wrestling since Paige had been one of the top stars since day one and headlined 3 successful pay-per-view shows and been in arguably the best match in company history, Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Paige. The fight also made the entire company look bad. At the same time, this week Dana White said that their very similar backstage situation with Hamzat Chimaev, Nate Diaz, and Kevin Holland was not going to have any disciplinary action at all. It is said that nobody from WWE has had an actual contact with Punk and Guy, but Punk is close with Adam Pearce, who has some pull there, and Punk in the past has been extremely close to Paul Heyman, who's also someone that the higher-ups seem to listen to a lot. And in some more news on CM Punk, it seems AEW could be trying to buy out his contract, as the Observer said. Those with close knowledge of the situation said they are in talks with Punk about a buyout of the remaining years of his contract, which tells you that they are not looking to bring him back. The holdup right now is said to be the non-compete period. Obviously, if the non-compete is an issue, it's about interest in going to WWE. Because there's no need for a non-compete otherwise, because nobody else but AEW and WWE can pay him close to what he was making. There are those in WWE who have been very negative towards him in the past, but it is a wrestling war, and the optics of looking publicly like they have taken Punk from AEW would be very significant.